Anyway, here to share some thoughts on, well, what is actually happening as things change and develop. I've asked our good friend Laura Packard to come and talk to us. Laura is a stage 4 cancer survivor and executive director of Healthcare Voter. Laura, thanks for taking time for us.
Thanks for having me back. And I was just having a conversation just a few hours ago saying they're done. They're walking away. It'll happen for Thanksgiving. And then wait, more news.
Yeah, I'm like, make up your mind already. Are you going to do it or aren't you? We need it desperately, desperately need it. So I guess what are the odds now? What are the chances of them actually getting something accomplished?
Well, Biden put out a statement just a few minutes ago, and it sounds like what the plan, and we'll see if this actually comes true, but that tonight they will vote on the bipartisan infrastructure bill in the House, and then they will vote on the rule for the Build Back Better. So that not the actual bill, but the procedural stuff, because a few so-called moderate Democrats said they wouldn't vote for that bill until there was a CBO score, until all the financial stuff came out, and
Right.
that won't happen for a week or so. So the plan again is vote for the first bill tonight, vote for procedural stuff on the second bill, and everybody promises they will vote for the real thing in a couple weeks when all the financial stuff comes out.
Except for the
But
people with their
we'll
fingers behind
see.
their back, crossed behind their back. So if they do pass the bipartisan infrastructure bill, this goes to Biden's desk then. Is that what I understand?
Yes, because it's already passed the Senate. So if the House doesn't make any changes, if they just vote it as is, it goes to Biden for his signature.
All right, so we may actually see something get done, and before the weekend and before they go away. That would be good messaging.
Yes, although the election already happened. But I would just like to point out, first of all, no Republicans are voting for this. So, as much as I point out the Democrats that are dragging their feet, zero Republicans are doing the right thing. And second, it's just a few Democrats that are really holding things up in both the House and the Senate. The vast majority of the elected Democrats in the House and in the Senate support both these bills. It's just a few people that are gumming up the works.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things where you got to get something done, guys. Come on, something.
Yeah, and I think that maybe the results in New Jersey and in Virginia hopefully made it clear that the American public is not happy right now, and Democrats need to deliver if they want to be reelected.
Yeah, no, it's that simple. So this is actually pretty good news then. I mean, this is potentially something helpful.
Yes, I mean, I am more interested in the second bill because it's got all the healthcare pieces, all the human infrastructure pieces, and I mean, I care about roads and bridges, but it's not the, that's the easy part. The
Right.
hard part is the other stuff.
Now, what
So
Now, what do you think the chances are of one going and the other? Because that's always been the fear. That the fear is that they coupled them together so that the easy stuff gets done and then the harder stuff comes along. What are the chances of well, we got what we wanted. Sorry, that's the end of the road.
I mean, that's always a possibility, and that worries me. So far, progressives have really played this smartly. Not voting when they had the power to not vote, and making sure that the second bill didn't get killed. Keeping them together, making sure the second bill stays alive. So we'll see.
Now, as the executive director of Healthcare Voter, what's in this Build Back Better plan? Because look, we've been hearing a lot about numbers. It's 6 trillion, 3.5 trillion, trillion 3/4, trillion 8.5. Just numbers all over the place and bickering, lots of fighting, and I don't think most people know what's in it. On the healthcare front, how will this social infrastructure spending? How will this help people get healthcare?
Okay. First of all, it makes the tax subsidies that were in the American Rescue Plan to make ACA health insurance plans cheaper. Those expire next year. And so it extends them out through 2025. Second, it fills the Medicaid gap. So low income people in places like Texas and Florida and Georgia and North Carolina can't get health insurance right now because they don't qualify for any help through the ACA, but they also can't get Medicaid. So they're locked out. And that's over 2 million Americans that can't get health care that need it most. So it fixes that also through 2025. It now lowers the cost of prescription drugs through Medicare negotiation. So I think it's 10 drugs to start and then more drugs after that. But what's interesting to people even that don't have Medicare is that it would cap insulin costs at $35 a month, whether you have Medicare or not. So that's a big, big thing for diabetics.
Right.
And it would also strengthen Medicare by including a hearing benefit.
Yeah, I wish it was all of the dental and the vision as well, but evidently that not possible. But I look at this and you said Texas, you said Georgia, you said Alabama, Mississippi, you said those states, right? And my first thought is, didn't they vote for Trump? Why is Biden helping them? Aren't we supposed to be punishing the people who don't come along with us?
Well, I think two brand new senators in Georgia and one very powerful and an inspirational senator in Wisconsin have been pushing for this, as well as Jim Clyburn in the House in South Carolina and House Democrats, because I mean, this is just plain wrong. 2 million Americans can't get health care and they're low income. They need it most. And regardless of where they live, they shouldn't be punished for the bad choices of their elected officials. In many cases, it's so gerrymandered, they never had a shot at electing anybody.
Now, of course, I'm not being serious, but the former guy, that side may have. But I'm looking at this because a lot of times things are framed between the rurals and the urbans. And I look at this Build Back Better plan, and a lot of the help goes to, urban areas and rural areas that didn't support Biden, that are probably never going to support Biden. But it's being done because it's absolutely the right thing that has to be done.
I mean, I think that's one difference between conservatives and liberals is I think everybody should have health care, whether they voted for Biden or not. And I'm not sure that conservatives believe that.
Now, I look at this and, strengthening the ACA is something I know you're big on because you think it's important. And look, I think it's what we've got. We've got to strengthen it. It's got to happen. This is one of those moments where you go, doing the right thing is easy, but it's so hard for us to get to that spot. And I'm looking at what's going on with this vote, why it's taken so long, all of this, and it's easy to get frustrated, isn't it?
Yes. And I mean, if we had more than 50 senators that believed in democratic ideals, then we would be a lot further along. But I mean, the truth is that very small majorities in both the House and in the Senate means that it's easy for big pharma and big corporations to buy people off.
Yeah.
And so that is the system we live in at the moment.
See, but this is the perfect scenario. I mean, everybody hates big pharma. Everybody hates big monopolistic corporate America. This is where the push should be. That's the bad guy. That's the evil doer, to use a Bush frame, not my neighbor, not the guy who votes for the Republican. I mean, we've framed things we've had things framed for us in all the wrong ways, right, left, progressive, moderate, Democrat, Republican. It's rich, poor. It's always been rich, poor. It's always been the moneyed interest versus everyone else.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the reasons why the first draft, the framework from the White House, did not have the provision to lower prescription drugs. And then there was so much of an outcry in the last few days that it's back in, because if you speak up, you really can make a difference.
Yeah. Now you're someone who clearly, as a stage 4 cancer survivor, you know the healthcare system, the real healthcare system, from the inside out, and the costs associated with that. When you're talking about these drugs, we're talking massive amounts of money, aren't we?
Yes, and we pay more than any other country. I think we pay 2 to 3 times more than any other country because every other country uses their buying power to negotiate, to force these big pharmaceutical companies to come to the table. And we're the only ones that say, we'll pay whatever number is on the bill. You write a number on the bill and we'll pay it. No arguments.
Because we're Americans, damn it. We pay full price. Isn't that stupid? Really, when you listen to what you just said, every other country in the world uses their bargaining power to negotiate themselves the best prices. Now, again, conservatives are the ones who tell us the power of the free market, that we should be able to exercise the power of economies of scale, of the free market, the invisible hand, all that stuff. And yet, what they've done is they've chopped off the invisible fingers and tied the invisible hands together. It's insane that the people who tell us that they believe the free market so much are the ones who are actually blocking the quote unquote free market.
And this is incredibly popular because it's just common sense. The only people it's not common sense for are the people that are being paid very well not to do it.
Yeah. Now, one of those people, that the allegation is she's been paid very well to do it is Senator Dipsy Doo from Arizona. Who's the one who's been, I call her Senator Dipsy Doo for the little dance she did when she shot down the minimum wage increase, because I don't get what the hell that was. But she's gotten some money from big pharma, and part of this holdup, I think, is partially that, or is that too jaded?
Well, I mean, yeah, she is a top recipient of big pharma dollars, and I'm sure they are making calls to her, telling her what they want her to do for that money. So yeah, I mean, I think if she wasn't getting big pharma money, she'd be in a lot different place on this bill.
Yeah, isn't this one of those moments where now we start talking about, we can't get the things that people want because, you talk to people about what's actually in this Build Back Better plan. It polls really well. It's very popular. People want, early childhood education to get their children an education. They want free college, which I understand not in this anymore, but they want to expand the college years to help their students. They want to get, children fed. They want Granny to get some chompers and some glasses. They want these things that are in there, and yet the moneyed interest have figured out how to rig this game so that we, the people, never quite get what we want, or more importantly, what we need. And yet they seem to keep doing well time and time again. Isn't this time to start talking about some major campaign finance reforms, some way of getting this huge monopolistic money out of our government?
Well, that's why I hope that next up, once we get through this, is working on HR1 and reforming the way we run elections and campaign finance in this country, because right now it is far too easy for big money to push elected officials around. It's incredibly popular, the things in this bill. And also, taxing the rich to pay for it is incredibly popular too. And yet, here we are, and it's unclear what all is going to make it in.
Yeah, how is that not possible? I mean, is it how is it you go, wait a second, we've got people making millions of dollars a year, tens of millions of dollars a year, paying less of a tax rate than someone who is literally sweeping the streets. How is that? How is it fair? How is it sane? How is it rational? And how does it continue to be? This is one of those things where if we framed things, I think, differently, maybe there would be the pitchforks out. Maybe there would be the riots. The fact that our kids aren't getting the opportunities that we deserve. Our seniors aren't getting what they're entitled to because we've got 745 USDA certified billionaires who pocketed a cool $2.1 trillion over the pandemic. And we've got to protect their profits, Laura. We got to protect them.
And this bill is now under $2 trillion. So it's just uh, money buys influence and power in our system, and they protect their wealth.
So the vote is happening as we speak. What should we be doing other than crossing our fingers, doing the pray thing? Do you do that?
Well, I think you should contact your representatives if you haven't yet. Contact your representative, contact your senators, tell them you want them to vote for Build Back Better and include all the healthcare pieces because no matter what happens tonight, the Senate still has to do their thing too. And it sounds like Manchin is gonna do some writing, some rewriting. We'll see what he comes up with. So it
Yeah.
is so important to keep contacting your senators as well as your representative.
While he sits on his gigantic boat driving around in his Maserati, you go, what? How is it that this guy represents the poor, one of the poorest states in the country? A guy who's who lives on a yacht and drives a Maserati. I don't know.
Make a good living as a senator, I guess.
No, not really. I mean, 175 grand a year is a reasonable living. Not driving a Maserati, living on a yacht. I don't know that you can do that. There's a lot more to this.
Yeah. And I mean, that's one of the reasons why we need campaign finance reform.
Yeah, and especially in West Virginia. I mean, you know, a state that so desperately needs healthcare. I've got friends who live there, and their healthcare system is in dire need of help. There is so much that Manchin could bring back to that state, so much that this kind of legislation can do for rural areas. I mean, that's the part that blows my mind. In this is so much for the people who hate Biden the most, the ones who are screaming, "Let's go, Brandon," instead of saying, "Thank you, Brandon."
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a whole other issue with misinformation and disinformation and the way that our media system is just collapsing and people can't get good factual information anymore. But thank you for your show.
There you go. Laura, I appreciate the time. As always, great talk with you. We'll see you back here in the next hour during the panel. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Our good friend Laura Packard. No, I mean seriously, at the end of the day, when you look at this, the fact that this isn't a no-brainer, that this hasn't just sailed through and become law already is a testament of how broken our system is and how we better figure out how to get back into the streets and talking to each other, maybe back to the bars, have a drink, something, that maybe the common will, the things that we want and need that are in this, that are popular, that poll really well, that maybe we get done. I know it's a stretch. I know it's difficult, but maybe we can have that happen. Love to hear your thoughts. You can email me, rick@thericksmithshow.com.